Alright, Ursula's Return is finally all out, so it's time to go through all the cards. We're going to be starting off with the Amber Ink cards. Hi everyone, this is D-Sun from Mushu Report, and I'm finally back to doing videos. And to start off, I'm going to be going through all 204 cards for Ursula's Return, but I'm going to be doing them in 6 videos, going through the 6 different inks, starting off with Amber Ink. So let's jump right into the very first card, which is Agustin Madrigal, Clumsy Dad. So this is a 1-cost 2/2 vanilla character, which is basically the same as the 1-cost Stitch, but the main difference is that he has the classification of Madrigal. That means that Agustin Madrigal will be perfect for your Madrigal deck because he gets all the various support and benefits from being a Madrigal, like for example, being able to be searched out by Alma Madrigal, matriarch of the family. So Alma Madrigal, or Abuela as many know her, is a 3-cost character, and when you play this character, you search your deck for a Madrigal character and review that card to all players, then shuffle your deck and place that card on top of it. So this is kind of the very first tutor searcher for Disney Lorcana. Not exactly a searcher because it places the card on the top of the deck, you don't get it right away, so you don't +1, but that being said, it's really nice because you can actually kind of get ready the next draw that you're going to be getting. If you want a 4th drop for your next turn, since Abuela is a 3 drop, then yeah, that's perfectly what you can do as well. One key point to note though is most of the Madrigals are inside the Amber Amethyst structure deck, but Alma Madrigal is not inside. So yeah, you're gonna be looking for this card if you're gonna planning to build an Encanto deck. Then the rest of the cards, you can probably just get most of them from the structured deck. So that's the idea. Moving on, we have Ariel Singing Mermaid. This is one of the nice cards that you might want to get just for a collection because the artwork is really nice. But that aside though, it's a 4-cost character that has Singer 7. So by Ariel alone, she can sing songs like Be Prepared. But that's of course not the main purpose you want to use Ariel for. You're going to be wanting to use her for the various sing together songs that we'll be going through later on, where those have various high costs like 9 costs and 10 costs. And yeah, Ariel can be one of those songs, one of those singers to sing that song. We also have Cinderella Melody Weaver, which is another crazy one because she's a 5-cost character with Singer 9. So by her alone, really, you can sing most of the songs that are out there. And she also has another ability, Beautiful Voice. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princess characters get +1 law this turn. And that's a really crazy ability because if you actually use Cinderella here to sing a song, and if you have a way to get her ready, like let's say using your Ruby cards with LeFou, get her ready and you use her to sing another song, and then after that, all your other princess characters get another +1 law this turn, and they can all have at least 3 law to just quest and bring you towards winning the game really easily. Of course, that's not really a super viable strategy maybe, because she's a 5-cost character, she's actually not that easy to play, and her stats aren't that fantastic, but I think there'll be people who want to try out this strategy perhaps just for fun, as a fun deck. So yeah, moving on, we have Cogsworth Major Domo. So Cogsworth is of course a pain in many people's butt for the current Sapphire version, but in this new one, he's pretty alright. Whenever this character quests, you may give chosen character -2 strength until the start of your next turn. So this is actually a card that I'll compare to Maximus, because Maximus is the same 3-cost character, so 1 cost cheaper, and he has the same 3/3 stats with 1 law, but Maximus only gets ability when he comes into play. Whereas Cogsworth Major Domo actually has the ability to reduce the opponent's strength every turn, and it's until the start of your next turn, which means that Cogsworth himself will probably be staying alive for a couple of turns and getting the quest more and helping all your other stuff to actually get you more law. So in a way, this is like your Kida, where she actually comes in and just reduce everyone's strength, but Cogsworth is something that you can control a bit better. I think that this is a pretty nice card for Amber Ink. Not too sure if people really use him, but yeah, I think that this is a nice card they can use to kind of play in a control deck. Next, we have Daisy Duck Lovely Lady. So this is kind of your Olaf 1-cost, 1/3, vanilla character, no special stats, and yeah, no abilities. But still, 1-cost, 1/3 is nice. Then she has another variant, Musketeer Spy, where when you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card right away. So this is kind of a comparison to the Daisy Duck for Emerald Ink, which whenever that one quest, then you can get your opponent to discard a card. This one is when it comes into play right away. So Ember and Emerald Ink are both still the inks that you definitely want to consider playing if you want to discard your opponent's card. Like for example, if you play Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to return Daisy Duck here back to hand and play her again, then you get to discard your opponent's card again. So yeah, that's some pretty nice synergy. I actually like this card over playing, say, Lucifer, which is a turn 5 character. By then, it might be a bit too late. So yeah, this Daisy Duck might be that bit better. Next, we have Donald Duck Musketeer Soldier. It's 3 cost, 2/3 stats with Bodyguard. So that's 1 cost higher compared to Simba, but he gets the additional ability that when you play this character, you give a chosen character +1 law this turn. So it's basically for you to play those kind of aggro decks where you have many 1 cost cheap characters to play. For example, with your Lilo, then you can use your Donald Duck here to protect Lilo for the turn, while your Lilo can actually quest for an extra law. So this is a really nice card for your hyper aggro decks, for Ember Ink, where you just want to keep questing and to win the game while you just block your opponent. Then yeah, Donald Duck Musketeer Soldier is the perfect card for that. Next, you have Felix Madrigal, fun-loving family man. So he is a pretty basic character, 3 cost, 2/4 stats with 2 law. So that's pretty nice. That's the wardrobe stats basically, but 1 lesser strength with 1 extra law. And enough said, sometimes you just need to have a good vanilla for the deck. Next, we have Gaston Despicable Dealer. So it's a 3 cost, 2/4 character with 1 law, but he has the ability when you exert, you pay 2 ink less for the next character you play this turn. I feel that this is an improvement over Dog Leader of the 7 Dwarfs because he actually has 4 willpower, which is a big improvement over 3 because of cards like Smash. And then even though he is uninkable, you can actually have the ability that when you exert, you can pay 2 ink lesser in comparison to Dog, which is paying just 1 ink lesser. Even though there's a quest ability, this one is a exert ability, so you don't get the law. But I think that if you are playing a card like this, Gaston, you will actually want to really reduce the ink cost. And if you think about it, Gaston, when he's out there, on turn 4, you exert him, you'll be able to bring out a 6 cost character straight away, which is a really nice touch. And yeah, otherwise you just want to spam the board and bring out a lot of small characters, then Gaston is also a really nice card for the deck. Next, Golden Harp Enchanter of the Land. At the start of your turn, if you didn't play a song this turn, banish this character. Now, this one is an interesting one because Golden Harp actually has really nice stats. With 4 willpower, she's going to actually survive really long, and she has 2 law, which means you can use her to quest a lot. The only issue is that you have to play a song each turn, which means that this is not a character that can play on your very first turn. You can only play her earliest on turn 2. So then after that, you just keep on using, say for example, your Cinderella Ballroom Sensation to keep singing songs while your Golden Harp stays alive and hopefully keeps on questing to actually gives you some hyper aggro kind of style of questing for lore really fast. That's the whole idea behind this card. That being said, I don't expect people to really try out this one because it's really situational. I think that there's better ways to do a hyper aggro. So yeah, personally, I think this is just an alright card. Next, we have Goofy Musketeer Swordsman. A 4 cost character. Whenever you play a character with Bodyguard, ready this character and he can't quest for the rest of this turn. Isn't that fantastic? I think that there's a lot of Bodyguard and Musketeer support in this set, so maybe it might work out. The issue is that he can't quest for the rest of the turn, so he's of course going to be challenging, but if he's going to be challenging at a 4 cost, 3/4 stats, that's not really fantastic stats to challenge. He's still not bad, somewhat beefy, but yeah, I think that there's better cards to consider maybe for your 4 cost character instead. Next, we have Julieta Madrigal, Excellent Cook. When you play this character, you may remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character, and if you remove damage this way, you may draw a card. So this is a very watered down version of Rapunzel because Rapunzel actually lets you get a card draw for every single damage that you heal. In Julieta's case, you can only draw 1 card as long as you heal any damage at all. 1 or 2 damage, you still draw 1 card. But I think it's a nice one, especially for the Ember Ruby, because they do need more ways that are good cards to just heal up, for example, that Mother Gothel, and benefit from her coming in damage, then yeah, Julieta Madrigal is definitely a nice addition for that deck. Then we have Max Lawyer Sheepdog, 3 cost character for 3 stats, and if you have a character named Prince Eric in play, you pay 1 ink lesser to play this character. So if you're planning somehow a Prince Eric Little Mermaid kind of deck, then yes, Max Lawyer Sheepdog is definitely a nice one, especially since there's actually quite a lot of Prince Erics here in this set and from the previous sets. Then yeah, you could definitely consider this, but is it that good? I think it's not gonna see play that much because the ability is not really that fantastic, and as usual, I feel that for Disney Lorcana, strength is less important compared to willpower. I would much rather this be a 3-4 character, then maybe this will see play that bit more. Then we have Mickey Mouse, Leader of the Band, a 4 cost character with support, and also when you play this character, you can give a chosen character support for the turn. So by itself, it's only 2 strength, so that means you can give 2 strength via the support to another character, and that's waiting a turn. Support so far hasn't really been a game mechanic that is really working out that well. I don't think that there's a lot of people really trying them out. That said, if you are playing Mickey Mouse and you can give another character support right away for the turn, then actually I think this is something that could be useful because his stats are still pretty alright, and his support on his own while giving someone support is a nice ability to have. Not too sure. I don't think this will really see play that much for now. Then we have Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain, the card that Lorcana Villain got to review, and this is a really nice legendary card in my opinion. It's the very first card that we actually don't have reminder text for the various keywords for bodyguard and support. They're just listed as one word over there. And also there's the ability when you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may draw a card for each character with bodyguard you have in play. So you actually have the potential to draw, say, 3 or 4 cards at one go if you can keep all your various bodyguard characters alive. And the ability bodyguard and support are not bad. I think that this is a nice way to actually get some card draw. Just take note that of course, if you're going to be playing this Mickey Mouse, you're going to be shifting away one other Mickey Mouse that you already had in play. That means you're in a sense sort of -1 to get to play this Mickey Mouse earlier on, and then you get some card draw. I think that there could be better ways to get card draw, but I think that this is still something nice for people who want to consider for, say, a bodyguard deck. Then this is a nice sort of boss character to have, kind of like your Surfer Stage, to just get more card draws and get some advantages. The only issue I have with this card is that the strength is too low. At 3 strength, this is one of the topics that's being discussed about recently in Disney Lorcana, that Madame Medusa is just way too strong. If she's gonna come in and just take out any character with 3 strength and lower, that just means there's so many decks that their so-called boss characters all just don't work out anymore because all of them just fall to Madame Medusa. And I kind of agree. I think that Madame Medusa might need to get hit if we're going to be getting, say, a ban list of some sort. But yeah. In the meantime, though, I think it's a nice touch. It's a very nice artwork card. Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain getting like hooray by everyone down there. They're all cheering for him. It's a nice ability. So yeah, overall, a very nice card in my opinion. Then next we have Minnie Mouse Musketeer Champion. She's no longer the princess. She's actually coming out to fight for herself. She has bodyguard with 1/5 stats. So that's not fantastic stats for a bodyguard. But that being said, you actually get to use her to, when you play this character, banish a chosen opposing character with 5 strength or more. So there's something that is to be considered because actually I don't think there are that many characters being played at the moment with 5 strength or more. Then yeah, her ability isn't gonna be used that often. In a way, I would much rather just go for, say, Maximus Palace Horse as a better 5-cost character. That one has bodyguard and support. Though, of course, the idea for Amber Ink is that there's a lot of various support characters, so you could potentially give another opposing character more strength until they have 5 strength or more, and then you play Minnie Mouse Musketeer. But that's a bit of a setup, and I think it's kind of tough. I kind of wish that her ability was more of a, say, for 4 strength or more, that might be a bit easier to achieve to pull off the ability. Next, we are going back to the Madrigals. Mirabelle Madrigal, Gift of the Family, 5-cost character, 3/5 stats with support, and whenever this character quests, your other Madrigal characters get +1 law this turn. So this is exactly why I was saying about the Agustin Madrigal. Is definitely a card that you want to play in a Madrigal deck. Because whenever this Mirabelle quests, you can give all your other Madrigals, including Agustin, 1 extra law this turn. So Agustin will have become a 1-cost character, 2/2 stats with 2 law, which is actually really strong if you're going to be able to bring out a whole bunch of your lower cost Madrigals onto the board. Just by being able to get her to quest, you can actually have a whole lot of characters that can all quest for 2 or more law in 1 turn. Then we have Mirabelle Madrigal Prophecy Finder. She only has support, 2 cost, 2/2 stats. I would say this is just alright to just play as a Madrigal. Not really fantastic. Well, support still needs to get better usage out of it before people can really play support, I guess. Then next we have Pluto Rescue Dog, 5 cost, 4/5. When you play this character, you may remove 3 damage counters from one of your characters. So this is a nice one, of course, for your Amber Ruby decks, so that you can get even more use, of course, again, out of Mother Gothel to just heal up your characters. I think healing in general is a pretty nice thing to have to keep your characters alive longer. Then you can keep questing for them. And Pluto actually has really nice stats. Every time I see the stats like this of 5 cost 4/5 character with 2 law, I keep thinking of poor Jumba Jukiba, who has the exact same stats as this Pluto over here, but he just has no ability to speak of. He's just not that good, really. Very fast, kind of got a power creep, I guess. So yeah, that's the one of the sad parts. Next, we have Prince Eric. The one reason you want to consider playing Max Sheepdog, I guess. We have Prince Eric Seafaring Prince, 3 cost, 3/3 stats with Bodyguard. So this is basically your Hercules Bodyguard as well. They have the exact same stats. This is just a reminder of how in Steel we had Kida, which was basically a 2-cost version. Simba, it was the exact same thing, same stats, same cost, and same Bodyguard. So this one now instead is the Amber Ink copying the Steel with Prince Eric copying Hercules instead. So yeah. It's a nice one, but I'm not too sure I like the idea that Lorcana, the Team Lorcana, is basically kind of making it so that you really have to pair up these inks to actually get your certain kind of thing off, get a certain kind of team off. Yeah, this one is a much nicer card in my opinion, and very interesting card. Prince Eric Ursula's Groom. So he's a shift character, and pay 4 cost to shift him in, and while you have a character named Ursula in play, this character gains Bodyguard and +2 strength. So I think that this is actually a really nice card because you can actually get to play him on turn 4 via shift. Then this character actually becomes 5 strength with 7 willpower. So that's really very good. The issue is just that though, for all the good stats he can only be activated if you have Ursula in play, and the cost is kind of high. At 2 law, that's not bad, but I wish that his ability just kind of like kicked in when Ursula is in play. You just get this ability and that's the end of it. Then it doesn't turn off when Ursula is gone. At this current stage, Ursula must stay in play for you to continue using Prince Eric. So that's a bit of a bummer. Then we have Stitch Alien Dancer. This is a 2 cost 2/3 character. It's a vanilla. So basically the same as Simba, but you don't have any abilities. But then I would say that this card is definitely something you should play if you are playing a Stitch Rockstar deck. You want to shift in really fast, then here's another Stitch for you that you can use in the deck, especially since the 2 cost Stitch Rockstar's ability would work with this Alien Dancer over here. So yeah, a perfectly good synergy to actually work together. Ursula's Eric's Bride. So this is the Ursula that was supposedly getting married to Prince Eric. His ability to shift to discard a song card to shift. So that's something that's interesting because she's a cost 4. At cost 4 with 2/4 stats and 2 law is already not really that fantastic. We already saw another 4 cost 2/4 character with 2 law earlier on. So yeah, and that wasn't even a shift. That said, whenever Ursula quests, the chosen opponent would review the hand and they have to discard a non-character card of your choice. So kind of like bare necessity. So That's really nice because whenever she quests, that means you can just keep on making them review their hand. Of course, this thing Lorcana is going to be filled with character cards though, and if you are playing Amber Ink, people are already going to be wary of you playing your bare necessities. So is Ursula's Eric's Bride that great? I'm not so sure. I think that she's a nice one if you want to play cards like, for example, Bucky, where you just want your Flood Bonds to come in. Then yeah, you can just play this card just with your Bucky over there. Ursula drops in, you already get to discard an opponent's card. And the following turn, you use her ability, you can keep on discarding, or at the very least, you force them to ink and get rid of all their non-character cards really fast. So that's something nice to consider. But I think that maybe there's still better cards to consider. Well, it depends really the ink that you're going to be pairing the Emerald ink with, if that is the strategy that you're going for. Then we have Ursula Vanessa. Basically, this is the Ursula that you're meant to kind of shift her into the Eric's Bride. And yeah, she is Singer 4 with 1/4 and 2 cost. So this is actually kind of like your Sebastian, but with much better stats. Sebastian is not really good. It doesn't survive that well. Instead, Ursula Vanessa can actually survive a smash. So that's something that's really important. And yeah, I think that this is a nice card. If you're playing Sebastian, get rid of him. Ursula Vanessa is something that you definitely want to consider. Next, you have Bruno's Return. We are moving on into the non-character cards. Return a character card from your discard to your hand, then remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. It's a 2-cost action card. So you don't have to play cards like Hades or Part of Your World anymore to return the character cards from your discard to your hand. The only one issue I have is with all these cards that are returning character cards from your discard to your hand, the ones that I just mentioned, all of them are uninkable, and this one already is an action card. You have to kind of pay for the cost, but the ability is really strong though. You return the character card and you still remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character, which is really nice. This is a card that could definitely be played together with your Amber Ruby decks. So yeah, I would say that this is one nice card to play, but just take note of the being uninkable. Might be something that will act against you. Then we have First Aid. So this is an action card. Remove up to 1 damage from each of your characters. It's a 1 cost. So your Hakuna Matata, well, as an action card, and it removes up to 1 damage. Is it alright? Yeah, it's nice, but I don't think you'll see play. It's just a nice sort of AoE healing for everyone, but normally, unless you are playing a certain type of deck, you won't really have that many characters on board in the first place. Next, we have Look at This Family, the song card, 7 cost. So this is one of those that I mentioned earlier on that Ariel could sing by herself. It's a sing together 7 cost card. So you get to look at the top 5 cards of the deck. You may remove up to 2 character cards and put them in your hand, then put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So this is basically a Be Our Guest times 2. It's the exact same ability, just that you get to add 2 character cards from what you reviewed and put them into your hand instead. So it's an outright +1. So it's definitely a nice card to definitely consider if you're going to be playing, say, a lot of song cards. You want to actually bring out, say, your Ariel Singing Mermaid, then this is a card that could actually work out very nicely for you. Or if not, it's inkable anyway. You can always just ink it whenever you can't find a good use for it at the right time. Then we have Lost in the Woods, or should I say Lost in the Woods. It's one of those that I keep remembering the song because it's a really nice song. Lost in the Woods is a 4-cost song card, and all opposing characters get -2 strength until the start of your next turn. And I kind of think that with this card, seriously, Kida can just get abandoned. I mean, well, I don't really see anyone playing Kida anyway to begin with. But with this, all the more reason that you don't want to play Kida, because Lost in the Woods is only affecting your opponent's characters and not your own. That means that by reducing their strength by 2, you can let your staff challenge successfully and clear off their board, hopefully, while at the same time, anything that they still have that might be ready and they can't challenge, you have to worry about them. Well, you don't have to worry about it, because at least for that next turn, that your opponent's turn, they are going to be having -2 strength. So yeah, this is so much better than Kida. I would much rather play this card over her. Then we have Sign the Scroll. This is a 3-cost uninkable. Each opponent may choose and discard a card. And for each opponent who doesn't, you gain 2 lore. So this is a way to force your opponents to just discard a card, I guess. Kind of reminds me of Hypnotize, since both cards are 3-cost action cards. Just that Hypnotize let you draw a card, while in this case, Sign the Scroll, it's uninkable. and also it lets your opponent get to choose if they discard a card. And then for each opponent who doesn't discard a card, you gain 2 law. So it's a nice way to quickly gain 2 law fast, I guess, if your opponent doesn't want to discard a card. But that also means that it's not really that good early game. Anyways, towards the late game, then your opponent most probably doesn't have that much cards for you to discard, or otherwise they're leading that far ahead that there's no real purpose for them to not discard, and they should discard so that you don't gain 2 law. So yeah, it's very situational. I'm not a big fan of Sign the Scroll at the moment. Then we have Miracle Candle. So Abuela's Gift, the ability is banish this item. You have 3 or more characters in play, gain 2 law, and remove up to 2 damage from chosen location. It's a very situational card. You need to have 3 or more characters in play. Well, you don't have to play this in an Encanto deck, so you can actually fit this into a deck, say for Stitch Rockstar. Just have a whole bunch of characters out there and just use this to gain 2 law. The thing is though, are you going to be getting to use the second ability to remove up to 2 damage from a location? That is probably a much harder sell. I would much rather that this card just allow you to remove any 2 damage from any, say, character or location, whatever you want to, that's fine. Because half the time, I don't think people really bother to just leave locations alive unless they have no choice. Like, for example, your McDuck Manor, it has so much willpower that you can take it out in one go. Then, yeah, in that kind of situation, healing up your location might seem like a not that idea. But aside from that, your opponents will want to try and take out the locations in one go, because if not, they'll be gaining the law in the following turn, and that's not ideal. So yeah, I don't think you're going to be getting to use this second ability or Miracle Candle that much. So you want to use this card, it's just for gaining law, which I kind of feel like it's not that great a card to consider. Then we have Record Player, another 2-cost item. Whenever you play a song, chosen character gets -2 strength until the start of your next turn. And your character's name Stitch count as having +1 cost for singing songs. So this is obviously a card for you to work together nicely with Stitch, especially if you're playing, say, a Stitch Rockstar deck, or you have the new Alien Dancer. Now, Alien Dancer is a 2-cost character, but he can sing 3-cost songs. Now, is it that great? I think the getting extra 1 cost to sing song, this ability is kind of situational. Again, one of those would be nice if you manage to pull it off, but it's not so major. The main thing is actually when you play a song, your chosen opposing character, well, any character actually, gets -2 strength until the start of your next turn. I think this is actually the more valuable ability, kind of like the Cogsworth that I mentioned earlier on, because it's the same, it lasts until the start of your next turn. That means that you can either use it to just reduce an opponent's strength by 2 so that you can take it out safely this turn, or if your opponent has something that has quite a lot of strength on their field, then you just use Record Player to reduce it by 2 strength, and you can actually do it every single turn as long as you have a song card. I think that this card might be not bad to consider to be played inside, say, your Ember Steel deck, your Song Steel with a lot of song cards inside. Is it that great though? I'm not so sure, because if you're playing Ember Steel, then you're gonna already have a lot of removal abilities, which actually means that Record Player to just reduce the strength by 2 isn't really that important. In a way, you might as well just play another removal card to, say, even a Baboom might be better instead if you are playing Ember Steel. But that's just the most basic version of it with Song Steel. I'm sure that there's more combinations that you could definitely consider. Then maybe Record Player will actually work out much better. All right, so those are all the items and actions. Now moving on, last 2 cards. We have the Atlantica Concert Hall. Characters counts as having +2 cost to sing songs while here, which is okay. It's one of those cards that I don't expect to really see play. If Atlantica actually had 1 law, then maybe I would expect it to see play, because it's a 1 cost to play, so that's a really nice, cheap location they can get out. But by itself, Atlantica is not going to do you anything. And if you're going to have the move 2 costs over to move your character over, then your characters get to have +2 costs to sing songs while here, then yeah, in a sense, haven't you actually paid that 2 costs already? I know the math doesn't exactly work out like that. You don't just say, for example, have a 3-cost character, you have a 5-cost song to sing. You don't just sort of -3 off from the character and you have 2 costs left to pay. I know it doesn't work out like that, but in a sense they are sort of equal. And yeah, I think that this card needed that bit more to be played more regularly. In the end, overall, I think it's not that fantastic a card to play at the moment. Not enough value. I would say there's much better abilities, especially since this kind of +2 cost for singing songs. It's, as I said, it's really very situational. You need a character that would actually benefit from this. You need to have this location in play. You need to have the 2 ink to move your character over, and you need to have the song card that somehow just all nicely works out to benefit of this. Of course, you could say if you're singing together, you will actually be having a lot of high cost songs. But yeah, again, it's too situational. I'll much rather just try and play, say, your Ariel Singing Mermaid and all your other higher song characters, your singer characters, to just get all those cards off instead compared to Atlantica anyway. Finally, we have the Underworld River Styx. River Styx? I'm not too sure if I'm pronouncing it right. So 2 cost location with a 2 move cost. Whenever a character quests while here, you may pay 3 ink to return a character card from your discard to your hand, which I think that this is actually very nice. It's kind of comparable in a way to Bruno's Return, because that one is a 2 cost action card. This one is paying 3 ink, but hey, this one is a card that you actually get the ability if you want to. You have to pay 3 ink for it, but only when you want to. So by itself, the Underworld River Styx is inkable. That's already a plus. Yes, 1 law, so that's a nice plus as well. The issue is that because you need to move a character in with 2 costs, that means that you're already sort of paying 5 ink in total in a way. You're paying 2 for the move cost and you're paying 3 to use the ability save. So that's basically paying 5 ink to return a character from your discard to your hand. And of course, if your character gets to survive, then it gets cheaper because on the following turn, you don't have to move another character in. It's just paying 3 to return a character card from discard to your hand. But yeah, I'm not so sure this ability is that worth it at the moment. It's definitely a much better card than Atlantica, but I would say that this is just an alright card that could definitely be considered if the games get longer and you need an ability that sort of keeps on recurring and gives you value. Then yeah, the Underworld River Styx, it could be a good card at time. But at the moment, I think this is one of those other locations which is just alright. I think in the end, Pride Lands is still a much better location card for the Amber Ink, though at the moment I don't really think Amber Ink needs that much locations at the moment. And that's my thoughts on every single Amber Ink card for Ursa's Return. I think there's a few great bangers over here, especially the Madrigal series. For your Encanto decks, you have your Alma Madrigal, you have your Mirabel Madrigal giving you search power and also extra lore to all your Madrigal characters, which in my opinion makes the Madrigal deck kind of at least a tier 2 deck, a deck that you can see doing pretty decently in your locals. I'm not too sure they'll be even better than that as a high tier deck. I think that they will still face issues with, for example, Ruby deck. There's so much removal, but aside from that, I think that it's a deck that can still do pretty alright. Another card that I'll definitely want to look out for is the Donald Duck Musketeer, giving one of your characters extra lore, even if it's just for that 1 turn. That's 1 extra lore gain really quickly. Plus, at the same time, he's a bodyguard by himself. I think that all these are really nice things to have for your hyper aggro deck to definitely add it in. And those are my thoughts for some of the Amber Ink cards. So do you have any different opinions? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you everyone for watching. Look forward to the next video for the Amethyst Ink. And yeah, see you all guys in the next one. This is D Summer from Mushu Report, signing out.